let's create a breaking news event, and so you're gonna have to go to sleep with that one on your head. So yeah, or they have to do it over time, whichever way it is. I kind of would have advised, like if it would have been me that would have advised it, I would have said, don't do it at 8. Don't do it at 8 p.m. local time in Germany. Don't do it at that time. Do it like 3. Do it like 3 p.m. The reason why is like many people at that point, they're just like about to head off for work. They're about to do their thing. They kind of just want to pass the time. So it'd be a great time to actually do it like say 3 or 4, something like that. But doing it at 8 is a bit of a problem because normally that's when all the news starts. And Germans are exceedingly habitual creatures to the point that they do everything as fucking timing precisely. And so as such, they will rather tune in into a media broadcast or something from like the Tagesschau and watch that as opposed to going on, say, X.com and listening to an X-Base with Elon. So it kind of like it conflicts with habit, I suppose. But maybe I'm wrong. I haven't lived there in a while. It's just what I know. Delicious. Also kind of to the point of being extremely habitual creatures, since I'm a German myself, I'm a person that literally eats the same shit every single day and does not care for any variation whatsoever. I eat the same steak, prepared the same way, with more or less the same stuff every single day. I got my water, 1 liter of water, got my coffee, got my butter, steak, a little bit of bread, that's it. Of course, properly seasoned with a decent amount of salt, because that's what the body needs. And that's it.
Yes.
I eat that every single day, and mostly that is just simply the one meal. It's a very big piece of butter, by the way, so it keeps me sustained throughout the entire day. So that's what my life is like. I'm a very simple person, and I'm also a very, habitual person from that perspective. I like having this habit. It's a good habit. It's a good thing to have. It keeps you alive. It keeps you well functioning. I mean, hey man, you don't have this kind of focus and energy unless you kind of have a diet which supports that, And eating sugary diets, which they kind of just create brain fog and everything else, and it's a bit of a problem. Makes you docile. Like, hey, what's interesting? You ever seen this experiment with the rats? The rats that are swimming? It's actually quite fascinating. So they took 2 rats, one of which they fed the normal food that they always do, dropped them in the pool, and swam to safety, all good. They took another rat, which they gave the diet that normally many Westerners would eat. Westerners meaning, something like the US and whatnot, very unhealthy foods. They fed that to those rats, and then dropped this rat into the pool, same story, but it wasn't able to fully save itself. It took multiple tries, and then finally somehow figured it out. You could even say that rat's brain was damaged. So think about this. The food that made the rat retarded, what do you think that's going to do to the human? Do you think that's going to make you, I don't know, feel better, feel worse? Most likely worse, or just make you feel bad in the first place. So, I mean, look at what's happening all around. Many people look at it as the obesity epidemic and think, oh, we need to have like a focus on health. And I'm like, yes, but your health advice is shit. This would all work if it did, but it doesn't. So that's how we got to this problem, right? So all of the health standards and health advice, for a lot of good that did, didn't really fix anything, did it? It's almost like as if, hey, you create regulations to make things happen, but then these things happen and they don't really fix the problem, but make it bigger. It's almost like the whole perception of it, and therefore the subsequent action response was wrong. Damn! But if you say that, they'll try and cancel your ass because it's against the science. By the way, there's no such thing as the science. It's all bullshit. Whenever somebody says that, they're a religious nut. I like to call them a religious nut. You know why? Because they're worse than the extremists. The extremists actually believe in something that may or may not exist. Actually, more may that exists than not, which is something spiritual. The person who is the scientist type of individual who wants to believe in certain things and, not question them at all because, it's a tough world when you have questions. Yeah, they're an ideologue that is like an atheistic ideologue in a sense. They believe in made-up assertions that are somewhat incorrect, made up by other people. A religious ideologue, that's even more respectable in that sense because that person actually believes in something that's real.
Appeal to
motherfuckers don't. Yeah.
Appeal to authority.
Appeal to authority is fucking insane. Like, at least you believe in something spiritual, I can understand that. But this shit with the science, Jesus Christ, that is insanely, ugh. I don't know. I judge you for that. Fuck you. It's good.
I'm on like day 20, I think, of this whole steak thing. So
How do you feel?
I feel good. Yeah, it's like it's enough sustenance really to last you, and yeah, I have a lot of energy in the evenings and stuff, so that's good.
Have you cut out the snacks?
For the most part, there's still occasional ones that I do, but yeah, I have mostly steak now.
Nice. Because your target should be absolute zero.
True.
If it's anything snack, just like make something like just have a little meat left over and just kind of snack on that. Straight out of the fridge is pretty good actually.
Indeed.
I have improvised one thing in my diet. I'm not consuming as much juice anymore, just raw fruit. I mean, from what you said last time.
Nice. Good stuff.
How much
That right
meat
there is
are
going to
you
instantly improve your diet.
How much meat are you eating? A couple steaks a day. No, I'm asking Suraj.
Not much at all.
We need to change that.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll work on it.
It's so funny. The council of dudes here pressuring other dudes into being healthy.
Good kind of pressure, yeah.
I'm not denying that that's exactly what's happening here, and this is a good thing. This is what society should be like, by the way.
Indeed.
See, here's the thing, you gotta understand this. When you're looking at something like what the toxic elements of society do, and as pressure people into doing certain things, is bad only because they pressure people into doing things that are terrible. What if you did things that are good, you have good reasons, you have good arguments if somebody wanted to challenge them, and you can pressure people into doing better things. Now this is a good thing, right? Especially if you have science to back that argument up. Real science, not an assertion, this shall go unquestioned. No. Real science. Oh yeah, eggs is good as well.
Yeah, eggs counts.
I should highly advise that people increase their egg intake. If you're not eating any eggs, eat some fucking eggs. Like seriously, eat some eggs. You need the cholesterol. Cholesterol is really good for you. This may break a few people's brains, but it is true. Cholesterol is actually good for you. It's the stuff that you're eating that fucks up the cholesterol, actually. Remember this old saying? You may have watched a few old movies, actually. Many people say may have not, but if you'd ever watched an older movie, they said this interesting thing, this very fascinating phrase. They said, "Oh, honey, I can't eat that. It's bad for my cholesterol." That phrase specifically, it's bad for my cholesterol. What did they mean with that? Meant that cholesterol was understood as something that's healthy, and that consuming this one particular thing that they wanted to consume is bad for that other thing that's actually healthy. So what's up with that? Well, I can tell you what's up with that. Cholesterol is actually good for you, because guess what? What do you think your fucking brain's made out of? Quick question, like seriously, what do you think your fucking brain's made out of? What do you think supports it? It's the fucking cholesterol. Like, what do you think helps with your body's ability to defeat cancers? Your cholesterol level. If it's below 300, you're fucked, or you're about to get fucked. It's true. And you have a bunch of cancer-causing compounds that are in virtually all of the foods that you have, and to some degree. Hell, sometimes it's unavoidable. The best you can do, actually, in this world, we have a common problem. I'll tell you what this problem is. Some things are genuinely not avoidable. Some compounds, some of the stuff that's unhealthy for you is genuinely unavoidable. You have to eat it, but you can offset this with something, right? Say, for instance, okay, you're consuming a bunch of carcinogenic, not really carcinogenic, sorry, you're consuming a bunch of compounds that are cancer-causing in nature. How do you deal with that? Well, your body would need some sort of way to, defeat the cancer. One of those ways is to have a good cholesterol level. If it's below 300, that's where the problems start to begin. You have a cholesterol deficit, as a matter of fact. This is also why a lot of people's brains are having a lot of problems, because guess what your brain is made out of? Cholesterol, or like the stuff that supports it. So if you're minimizing the intake of that, you're getting completely fucked. So increase stuff like eggs, and you shouldn't eat any of these weird seed oils or anything that oxidizes stuff that's in your body, because that's going to really fuck you over. And various other things, like don't eat stuff that has there's colorings in it. There's also this problem with tea bags, by the way. So if any one of you has ever noticed, how is it possible that a tea bag is like, it's made out of paper, but as we all know from paper, it should fall apart, right? So why doesn't it fall apart? It's because it's sprayed with fucking plastic. So
Feels kind of shit.
you dunk that shit in your little teacup, and the stuff falls off. Not all of it, but some of it does. And then you're drinking microplastics right there. And you know what happens to those microplastics? You know where those the carotid artery is? Like your neck, in two places? Right there, there's a little bit of a lining that forms. And in that, some of the microplastics tend to get embedded. So your arteries are literally clogging up, and that is promoted by those microplastics. Isn't that fucking insane?
Wow. Didn't know that about tea bags.
Yeah, I don't drink tea anymore. I stopped. I think if you get it like the Chinese have a very interesting way to solve this problem. Right, they have these tea bricks, and you can like break pieces of them off and kind of crumble them up, and that you can use that as tea. Very nice, very nice. You know, I'm gonna let. Okay, so I'm gonna put you in charge and you in charge. There we go. Oh, what's this? Interesting. Let me see. Interesting. Very interesting. I'm looking at someone's account right now. Okay. This looks interesting. Let me read the rest of that. Nice, actually. Mark Friedrich, if that's your correct name, would you like to come up real quick? Yeah, I'll send you an invite if you feel like you'd like to come up. You can just press the request button and it'll instantly bring you up. But I'll just send it to you. If you don't want to come, it's fine. But I'll send one to you. And I'll also invite Preston up. Preston's our Preston's our solicitor in a sense. And our friend Laura Cat is a DGen with a law degree. Or, sorry, and a chaos agent. Sorry, he's a chaos agent with a law degree. That's what he says. He's great.
Sure. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he is. So Mark, if you'd like to come up, just press the little request button at the bottom there. It'll send you straight up.
Hi,
There you go, Mark's here.
Speaking.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hey, Preston, what's up, dude? Hi, Mark.
Hi,
Hey, what's going on?
Hi.
How are you?
I'm pretty fine actually. I should sleep because I'm going to the German Bundestag tomorrow for a roundtable about Bitcoin. And actually, I'm the guy who sent the telephone number of Alice Weidel to Wall Street Math. I don't know if you received the number back then. So yeah, thanks for inviting me here to the conversation.
Yeah, 100%. Wait. How did I receive the number? What do you mean?
Wall Street Math, James, I sent him the telephone number, the mobile number of Alice Weidel for the space. I don't know if you received it or how this happened, but
Yeah, how would I receive it though? Like I'm not. Wait, hold up, hang on, real quick. Do you think I'm Elon?
Yes.
No, I'm not Elon. Dude, that's actually a very funny one. You're the first person to give a straight answer to that, like, yes. Like, uninterrupted, unadulterated yes. No, I'm not Elon. I sound very similar. We have a lot of similarities. It's a huge thing, by the way. It's been in the news multiple times. I've followed a lot of chaos. So, no, I sound very much like him. I am very much like him. But I'm not him. Yeah. You may have heard of me in random conversations like this Adrian person, or people like sometimes they refer to me like as if I was some sort of force of nature, whereas like in casual conversation, especially like my opponents, like sometimes just I had this chat with this guy. I was like, who's this guy? Gitman. It's like, yeah.
It's
Also-
hilarious. 'Cause
Also,
I just-
Adrian. Adrian would
It's
have
hilarious. Because I just bumped in and I heard your voice and I thought, hey, this is Elon. But okay, perfect. Anyhow.
Wait, how did you find the space?
I was listening to the space with Naomi because she's a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And now I just woke up because I couldn't sleep because I don't know why, but anyhow, and I just thought that you would, because I subscribed to your account, and then I just saw that you have a new space, and I thought it's fucking interesting with cancer because I just saw the video from Joe Rogan with Mel Gibson, so I just posted it, and that's how I came here. So thanks for inviting me.
How about that, dude? I love a lot of coincidences. That's a cool thing. And the Bitcoin thing, I'm somewhat interested in it. I don't talk about it much, but like realistically speaking, I mean, I understand what Bitcoin is. Like, wait, are there talks of bringing back a bit of a Bitcoin reserve for Germany?
No, not really. But it's a liberal party who invited me because I wrote a book about Bitcoin last year, and it was a best-selling book, the first best-selling book in the top 10 in Germany about Bitcoin. So the federal, the liberal party is trying to jump on the bandwagon of Trump. You know, they want to have a success with this Bitcoin policy. That's why they're doing it, I guess. But anyhow, yeah, they invited me, and I'm a strong supporter of a Bitcoin strategic reserve for any country, actually, because I think it's the better money.
I mean, if they want to have a good Bitcoin policy, they may as well just be very, like, reduce restrictions on crypto in general over there, and then basically that country would be like, hey man, yeah, we definitely want our crypto there.
Exactly. But right now the European Union is doing everything wrong because we have MiCA, new regulations against Bitcoin, or for the regulation of cryptocurrencies, and it's a nightmare because the US is winning this game because they realized it's the hardest money mankind ever created, and that's why they will win because Trump realized it with good advice. So Europe is losing again on this battle as well. Same with artificial intelligence or with energy and everything, because we do everything wrong in Europe.
Yeah, except for regulation around food, I think there's something that the U.S. should kind of copy as a playbook. Definitely the food aspect, because it's the food in Europe is a lot healthier, so that's pretty cool.
It is, but it's because, for example, we don't have processed food so much. For example, in the Mediterranean Sea, you know, Italy, Spain, Greece, they just use like olive oil, pure stuff, like not processed. This is very healthy, and in the US it's horrible. Every time I'm in the US, even if I do a lot of workout and sport, I gain weight. I don't know, something's in the water, and I don't eat white bread or something. You know, I'm a vegetarian for 30 years, but every time I'm in the US, I come back like a fatty.
That is fascinating. Yeah, everything in the US is a little bit different. So, like, even the milk, for instance, like, I still remember, like, the meat tastes different, the butter tastes different. The butter is like more white for some reason, and the milk tastes sweetish. I'm like, why does it taste this sweet? It's like abnormally sweet. That was like one of the first things that I noticed when I came there. I was like, everything is bigger. That's nice. Everything tastes a little bit strange because it's a bit different, sure. It's like some places have a bit of an absence of something, which I can't really quite place. So it's a very strange but awesome thing. I'm not sure why. It's like very weird.
Yeah, I think they're poisoning their people. You know, they make them fat so they can treat them with medicine and make more money. And that's why I hope that Robert F. Kennedy is make America healthy again, because they put something in the water like fluoride, for example, and they put a lot of stuff into their food. And if you're in the US, you see there's so many fat people. You know, they're obese. It's horrible, actually, how fat they gained. And I wrote a chapter in my book that since 1971, since Nixon closed the gold window with the fiat currency, everything got actually worse. The food, the architecture, everything, the printing, the debt, everything of the printing of money. So, and the food is horrible. And if you're in the US and you see the people in the shopping malls, in their little cars, it's just, oh my God. They're poisoning their own people, that's what I think. And that's why they have to change the food. And that's why I hope that Robert Kennedy will succeed.
I definitely got that after Nixon closed the gold window. I can confirm that the closing of the gold window occurred way before I got fat. So I think there's definitely a causal relationship between those. I also, my birth also occurred after the closing of the gold window, but that's not material. I think we're going to blame the closing of the gold window for that.
We're going to blame you for everything, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of problems occurred with the fiat monetary system. So if you understand the monetary system, you see where all the problems lay. And it's wars, you can finance wars with the fiat money. And that's why I think Henry Ford said if the people would understand the monetary system, we would have a revolution tomorrow morning. And that's why it's so important to understand money and the monetary system, because money is power and everything comes back to money. So follow the money and then you will see all the solutions in many different parts of our life and society.
Where are you from in Germany?
I'm from the southern part, close to Stuttgart, where they used to build a nice car, Porsche and Mercedes.
Yeah. Are you still based there now?
Yes, right now I'm in Berlin. Like I said, I have to go to the parliament tomorrow morning, actually in 4 hours, so I should get some sleep, actually.
Yes.
But I used to live close to Stuttgart, so if you want to visit me, you're very welcome, all of you guys.
Yeah, a lot of the ETH guys are all moved to Berlin. I don't know if you ever hang out with Gavin Wood and that crowd.
No, I don't like shitcoiners.
That's
Just kidding. I'm very open-minded and tolerant also to people who are retarded. It's okay.
Oh my God. Wow, that's a good one. Nice, well played there for sure. I mean, yeah, man, sure, 100%. You get some sleep. You got a big day ahead of you. Come around anytime. We host a conversation at roughly about the same time every single day. Actually, normally we host it about an hour earlier. That's when it starts. So you can come in for a little bit, have a bit of a chat if you'd like. Tell us about how your day went and all. Would be actually nice to see how your day would go tomorrow.
Yes, definitely. Even Adrian, sorry. And I also sent you a direct message, so just reply to you guys. Just subscribe my account, and then we come together, and I tell you how it was at the German parliament with all these politicians.
Nice, awesome. Well, I would like to hear it. Thank you for coming,
guys. Thank you very much for inviting me, and hear you soon. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. He's gonna discover the Adrian Dittman effect via the conversations. Your sleep schedule will disappear.
Very true. Can confirm.
Adrian, we have someone in the listeners panel who I know really well, and I also collaborate with him on a lot of my research and stuff. It is Privacy Test. If that's okay, can we let him in?
Oh, I know this company. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. That's the one that does the browsers, right?
Yep, exactly the one. Yeah.
Okay. If they request, I'll let them up.
What the hell is this?
What the hell is what?
I'm looking at a PoE build right now. What the fuck is this?
There's some weird ones, man.
Dude, check this shit out. I mean, ours is probably a bit better, but like, this is The Asian gamers have caught on. Let's just say that. That's why all the builds have been getting crazy. I've been like looking at people's builds, and they've become progressively crazier. And I was like thinking to myself, why? Why is that? Somebody, where is the source for all of this? Because I know most of these people, they don't come up with anything on their own. And then I start seeing the Asian gamers have arrived. I'm like, that's where it's coming from.
Alright, let me look at this.
Explain to me what the fuck this is, actually.
Oh, wow.
Whatever they have a shit ton of effects that are boosting them.
Yeah, it's like he's casting one thing, and then it's like simultaneously casting other things. That's crazy. Like it cast on death or something. I don't know.
It seems to be some sort of like effect. Actually, I think it's something to do with shock that it gets that down. But look at this. Look at the spread. And look at what's happening there. So like as soon as like I think some sort of effect is reached, it just like cools down the whole lightning and everything. It's kind of fun.
Oh, I think it's cast on shock then. Maybe. Yeah.
It would be yes.
Something like that. Yeah. That's cool. That was nice. Also, this bar at the bottom of the screen looks kind of odd.
That's what I'm saying.
How did he get that? Is that a mod or is that? Oh no, he's playing on PlayStation or something. That would be the only reason that would be like that.
No, I mean like the effects. That's the stuff that's interesting. But look at the amount of destruction that's happening right now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, everything dies. Then it's just.
He's using the same build. He's using a similar build that we're using for sure. Because look at the health thing. It's not health. It's all mana.
Yeah, he's using the chaos inoculation on the energy shield. Yep.
Chaos inoculation is great. As soon as it comes down, you're just like, yeah, nah, you can't kill me.
Yeah,
it's funny. It's like everybody's like, oh, hey, I need my chaos resistance. No, what if you could make chaos life, actually?
Yes. This one.
Have you guys been following the latest NVIDIA thing? The GPU?
Yeah, and unless there's a new update that we're not aware of.
No, they just recently announced that they had about $100 million sale in just 12 hours.
Oh, cool. That's pretty good.
You mean if the new GPU is the 50 series?
I think so, yeah, the latest one.
Yeah, no, sure, that makes a lot of sense.
Good to hear. Yeah, that's gonna be an insane GPU.
What?
I'm looking at requests. None of the regulars right now, but
I'm like watching a video that makes no sense. What the fuck is this shit?
I see Jordan down there. Maybe he wants to join us.
Nice.
Ian said he'll join soon. He's just in Mario's space.
Yeah, I saw that. They're having a little bit of a geopolitical incursion, let's just say that. There's nothing quite like a bunch of people that are yelling at each other for no fucking reason. Actually, there was a reason. More politics, bruh. That's the reason.
Politics, yeah.
I keep throwing this accusation like, because he's not in Germany, he's not in the US, and like throw a bunch of accusations at him. So like, I'm not talking to you because you're from X, Y, and Z country. It's like, so hang on a second. This person coming up with a super valid question. I'm not gonna answer it because I know, wrong nation.
Bruh.
God, racist.
That's kind of retarded. Yeah.
I was ready to tell you there. Okay, let's check some messages. I'm almost done with my food here. Alright, let's
What are
see.
you eating?
Meat.
Nice.
Elon's bedside table got leaked again. the Diet Cokes everywhere.
Oh yeah, he posted that image himself, yeah.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, that's where it came from. Yep. He has a drinking problem, like, oh my god. Bro, he's like consuming so much of that shit, I'm surprised, like. Dear God.
That's a lot. I'm surprised Diet Coke, like.
I don't know. It's funny because if you're ever wondering what all the people in the tech space are drinking so much Diet Coke, well, look no further. It's kind of funny.
Interesting.
And it gets more interesting because it's not the first time that his bedside table had been leaked. And I think the first time it was a
Well,
gun.
the last time was the gun, right? The toy gun.
Yeah.
And a Diet Coke.
Remember that? Yeah.
And since then, the tech people being into Diet Coke has exploded as a phenomenon. So that was the first time. This is just a second. So now more people's like, I'm still not drinking fucking Diet Coke. There we go. That's another thing we disagree on, and that's another thing where we're different. I don't drink Diet Coke. I won't. I do like the flavor of it though. It's pretty damn good. I like Coke in general. The taste is like
Regular Coke, yeah.
Look, I know it's toxic for you. I know it's fucked up. But goddamn, that shit tastes so good.
I have to agree.
Before there was Red Bull, Diet Coke was a way that you could get caffeine in moderate amounts. So it was in boarding school. And I don't know whether it was true or not, or whether we were just, retards. But if you needed to stay up late, you just drink Diet Coke, and that was the way to do it.
Nice. Yeah, it's funny because I still remember when I first had like Red Bull. I drank it just to see what it would be like. Tested it out. I was like, this hits just like coffee. I can just make myself a shit ton of instant coffee, gobble it all down, and feel the effects. Why am I buying this shit for a higher price? That was literally my reason. And God, did I used to do it. With instant coffee, you can just you can take like 2 tablespoons or 3 tablespoons and mix it into something that is going to fill up a shot glass or something, like 2 shot glasses, and just gobble it down. Absolutely fucking disgusting, by the way. Horrifying taste. That shit's going to keep you up all night.
My first encounter with Red Bull was in Budapest in my junior year of high school, at a bar, understandably. And it was a really interesting experience. But I don't think it was widely available in the U.S. at that point. It was like the mid '90s.
No. There was Shits was still starting out back then.
What's that?
That's just crazy. Shits. The Red Bull dude.
Oh, no, I don't actually know the Red Bull dude. I remember the cartoons.
He's got fucking huge. You ever been in one of those hangars? It's great. It's in Austria. In Austria, he has he's dead now, by the way. But the guy created Red Bull. He has like these 2 hangars. They're created by an Austrian architect. Oh, fuck, I forgot his name. Really good architect, by the way. I know the guy. He's a pretty cool dude. Older dude. You'll love him if you meet him. Oh, I forgot his name. Wichita. That's the one. Sorry, Wichita. That's the one. There's a guy designed 2 of his hangars and the big outhouse that's in Austria. Very interesting thing. You ever been inside one of those? You can actually go there. You can actually go there. It's a tourist. Just go in there and just.
I'm looking at. Is that Hangar 7? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. Being right next to the airport. Yeah, it's fucking great. There's all of his toys in there. You know, dude, I gotta tell you a fucking funny story. So, well, not really funny, but I was there, and there's this glass bridge in the hangar. You can walk on this glass bridge, and it goes to like so the hangar is like this curved thing, which I'm pretty sure you're now looking at. It's like a bubble almost. That's kind of in half. That's what it looks like for those people who can't see it. And one of the hangars has this glass walkway, so you're walking on glass. Really cool thing. That leads to a little chamber that's also made out of glass, and sometimes they host shows in there, like talk shows and such. Really fucking cool, by the way. Anyways, I'm walking on the glass bridge, and I'm looking down, and do you know the plane that flew through the hangar in one of the James Bond movies, the older ones?
Yeah.
That plane was beneath my feet.
Oh wow.
And do you know what's interesting? About a week or so after I was there, that same fucking plane crashed.
Really? Oh shit.
So I was one of the last people to see it in person. So that fucking plane crashed, and the pilot inside died, but he died after like the crash was complete because they had to pilot it into an area where it wouldn't do any damage, and crashed, and yeah, he died unfortunately. But there was even, I think, there was a person nearby who was trying to resuscitate him and all. It's kind of an interesting story. But yeah, there's Hangar 7. There's a plane there. Even one of the Formula One cars, there's a few of those there as well. I sat in one. That's great. It's very constricting, man. So that's pretty cool. A lot of shirts. There's also a pretty sick restaurant in there as well. Food's kind of weird, but the ambiance is crazy cool.
And it was, the flavor was something that.
On the list. That looks super
Oh
cool.
yeah.
There's others as well. There's a lot of cool shit in Austria. It's a very small place, by the way. Like the Salzburg, that's what I've been. A very small place. Annoying as shit to get around, but to get around by car though. Like at that point, I just recommend you walk. Because fuck man, it literally can take you longer to get around by car than it would on foot. This is actually the thing with most European cities. You can get places on foot. American cities, so fucking big you can't walk anywhere. Gotta take a car. European cities, everything is dense as fuck. You can walk around. Like, hey, want to go to the supermarket? Yeah, sure, let's go walk there. Fucking US? Nah, man, you can take like 30 minutes. 30, 40 minutes. Hello, buddy, what's up, dude?
What's up, buddy? Hey, thank you again.
My pleasure.
While you're eating healthy, I'm sipping on Guinness.
Hey, I can't judge. I haven't tried it before, but I will try it in the future. But dark beers, in my opinion, have a very good taste.
Oh yeah, So from me to you guys, Prost.
Prost.
I had no idea you're German. Actually, I posted a couple pictures from the casino in Baden-Baden, Germany. That was beautiful architect on that side.
Nice.
And yeah, that's why I was like so invested when I was in Germany and I saw the fiasco with the Arab Muslims because it just does not mesh well. But yeah, I've never been to Austria, but I can tell you what I did buy when I was in Germany. I did buy an Eddie Strobel bicycle. So they don't make those anymore. So the market value was like at least $1,000. And but yeah, I took that sucker pretty much everywhere because yeah, I mean like literally you can get from place to place faster on a bicycle, or maybe sometimes walking, than just taking the bus. It was pretty fun.
Yeah. Which other places? Which other places in Europe have you been? You ever been to Spain? I like Spain.
No, I've been to Italy, Germany, Hungary, Poland, and Ukraine.
Nice. Do you like Italy? Is Italy your favorite?
Not really. They have the same issue in Germany. I do love Germany. Yeah, the architect in Germany, like the buildings are just beautiful, man. The country is beautiful. It just they need to get their shit together and get back on track and put Germans first. And same thing in every European country, to be honest with you. I've been to a lot of different countries, specifically Middle East, because that was my specialty, is counterterrorism. Believe it or not, I loved Afghanistan. I spent almost 6 months over there, and I hopped around in different regions. The terrain is gorgeous. The cities are shitty, obviously, because they live in huts and stuff like that. But yeah, the terrain is gorgeous. It's a shame what's going on over there. And Ukraine, by the way, Ukraine is gorgeous, beautiful. Hopefully the war ends. And by the way, if you guys have money, I don't. If you guys have money, I highly suggest that you find real estate agents now and buy properties in Ukraine. Because after the war, after the war, if you end up buying property after the war, that property's got to go 3-4 folds easily.
I don't know if you guys have seen the TV series Sharp, which is it's an English series based on some children's novels about the Napoleonic Wars, which says something about what English children used to read. But the entire thing, except for the later episode, the sort of like reboot when they were talking about the later seasons when they were in India, the whole thing was filmed in Ukraine. And like I was shocked because it looks exactly like Spain, or how you think Spain and Portugal might look, but actually the entire thing was shot in Ukraine. So if you want to see what Ukraine looks like, and some really, really interesting, beautiful, honestly, scenery from the country, definitely go watch Sharp. That's SHARPE.
Interesting.
Hey guys, how y'all doing? Nice to speak with you all. Really, hey Blythe, I really love the whole interview with Musk and the FD leader and the follow-up. It was quite entertaining, and I am very glad that the whole position on Israel has been clarified, because a lot of misinformation, disinformation was put out on the FD, and I just think that the commentary was very well done. I like the idea that Jews will be protected in Germany. And it is true that the waves and hordes of migrants that have flooded into Germany have high levels of anti-Semitism, and there's been a lot of persecution of the Jewish people. And the AFD is very much of this mindset to protect Jews, and they've been, seen as evil and whatnot. They're not Nazis, far from it. And I'm very optimistic and confident that Elon will put the right, not put the right people, oops, Freudian slip. Elon Musk will see to it that the people of Germany have a very friendly government through his persuasion and willpower.
Wait, what the? That's funny. I told people to download the Grok app way before XAI themselves did. They just released it like 43 minutes ago.
Oh wow.
43 minutes ago. Hey, download Grok. Like, actually, by the way. Yeah.
I tried it out. It's pretty good. Yeah.
I forgot about that. It's kind of funny. I think they invited me on that space as well. That's fucking hilarious.
I really wish he spoke. It would have been funny.
Sure, but I'm just not sure what that might cause.
Hey, Adrian, I'm gonna DM you something, and you'll understand how I ended up in Europe and whatnot. It's a pretty fun fact about me.
Certainly. What the fuck is this? I'm just looking at something. That's funny. Nice. It's also cool. The German part of X found me as well now, so that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Nice. Imagine I do a German space in the future. Who knows? Might. Would be fun. Would be definitely fun. I'd be down for it. Yeah. Aside from that, but it was a pretty busy week. Probably we'll do less spaces on the weekends, I think. We'll see. But yeah, because I mean, look, throughout the week, actually, since Christmas, I hadn't taken a single, I haven't really taken a break of any kind at all. Hell, I haven't even played any games in that time. The only game I've played was Fortnite because somebody effectively forced me to do so, and I was like, actually, fuck it, let's do it. I was like, I haven't done this before. Let's see if I can actually learn it. It's a first-person shooter game. They're kind of counterintuitive, but it'll work. Fuck, that game is extremely counterintuitive, but you'll get it. You'll get it at some point.
It was entertaining. Yeah.
I'm matched up with people there.
If you want to do chess, I'm ready.
I know you'll wipe my ass out with it.
You're very good at chess. Yeah. You and Molson are both very, very skilled.
Molson says a lot of insane shit, so nobody believed him that he was actually good.
But he actually is really good.
And he was really rubbing it in everyone's faces. I'm like, bro, this guy.
I told you guys.
It was really late when we played where I am, so I hope we can have games earlier.
Match, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
I'll coax him out a little bit. Maybe I'll be down for it. I'm just waiting for all the political shit to blow over and just disappear because I'm so tired of it. Nice. My following count looks perfect. See, it's a bunch of ones.
Nice.
Do you guys had a chance to follow the World Championship, the Rapper and Blitz?
Just a little bit, just highlights and stuff like that. It's interesting, but yeah, I don't follow it super close.
Yeah, there was a controversy for the dress code.
Exactly that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Magnus Carlsen was wearing jeans, which is supposed to be normal dressing, but then he got disqualified for violating the rules. I mean, it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So strict. Doesn't like it. It's always funny when Magnus shows up late or something, and then he still wins the match somehow, and everybody's like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, he wins. There's a fair share of people who still believe Magnus is the world champion because he didn't play in the world championship. I mean, even I think Magnus is the GOAT.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I think we'll only know if Magnus and Kukesh actually plays in the upcoming world championship. But I mean, in my opinion, I think he's the best, Magnus. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, he's just a little uninspired. It seems like he doesn't really care that much to play the big events as much anymore.
Actually, he doesn't like the time format that FIDE suggested. It's because of that. Yeah.
Interesting. Wonder if he goes on X at all. It'd be cool if we got an interview with him or something.
Yeah.
question for the audience, I guess, or like the panel. Are you guys on the electric car spectrum or like a gas?
I do
like
both.
yeah.
I do both. So I have a Tesla Model 3. I've had it for 2.5 years, and it is a fucking lifesaver. Like I was talking to, so I used to commute once a week to DC and back, and the autopilot. So you know what? You know how I figured it out? I was driving back and forth in a 4Runner, and this was like a 2018 4Runner with like no automation, no cruise, whatever. And I kept driving past accidents. And what I would find is that there were two cars, and there was a third car involved in the accident as well, and it was a Tesla. But the Tesla would be stopped behind the accident with no damage to the vehicle, because what happened was the autopilot had kicked in and stopped it from being involved. So it was involved, right? But it was not damaged because it braked before it got involved in, before there's actual damage to the car. So I was like, and I saw this on like 95, like 4 or 5 times. I was like, son of a bitch, you got to get me one of those. So it did.
I hate 95.
It's amazing. It's like, so you go back and forth. Like I go to New York City once a week or so, and it's just you jump into the car, boom, turn on the autopilot, get you there, piece of cake, gets you home, charges enough to get you. I live in Eastern Connecticut, so it's like it's a wonderful vehicle, and it has saved my ass so many times on long drives, like I can't even count. The other car, right, is the only thing that stinks about the Tesla, and it's not a thing about the Tesla, it's more a thing about charging, is that I like to go hang out in the mountains in New Hampshire and Vermont, where there aren't a whole lot of charging stations, or we're like at hotels and there's guest charging. Like they're generally speaking, it's a bunch of other yuppie assholes just like me. And so the chargers are like oversubscribed. So to do that, I have a 4Runner again, which is my other like favorite car in the universe. I think I'll probably drive a 4Runner and a Tesla till the day I die. But like they serve different purposes. But like the Tesla wound up being the. I didn't think so. I thought I'd wind up thinking like, oh, it's a golf cart, but it's just fucking amazing. It's the best car I've ever driven.
It's great. It's gonna save a lot of people's lives in the future, because the more Teslas that are on the road, the safer the overall driving environment's going to be, right? So
that's just the thing. You feel like you're in this bubble because, and it's not like they are, of course, very well built, but you feel like you're in this bubble where there's just like this gentle, like invisible hand of God that's just kind of nudging you away from trouble all the time, and like that's the first thing. And the second one is that like when I'm driving it, I don't feel a need to rush anywhere, because there's not as much mental energy required to actually operate the vehicle. So you're like, whatever, cool. I'll just like chill at 65, 68 and like do whatever, like have a conversation, chill out. And it doesn't really, you don't feel like you need to rush, because I've always found that the rushing part of driving is because either like I'm really amped up for some reason. So yeah, I got pulled over the other day. I've been pulled over exactly three times in my life. One of them was when I had an unregistered motorcycle, which is like, it makes me sound a lot more badass than I actually am. But it was the registration was in the mail. It got nollied. That was when I was like 19 years old. The second time was on my way to New Hampshire to Porkfest in Vermont, and I got pulled over. Yeah, it's a libertarian Aliyah to Lancaster, New Hampshire once a year. And I really had to go to the bathroom, so I was driving like 85, and then I got let off with a warning. And the third time was about 2 months ago, and there I just had a crown fitted, and I was really like bent out of shape because I hate dental work. And so I passed from a 50 to a 35. I didn't slow down, and I got dinged. So, but yeah, the other thing with the Tesla is like you just set it and forget it, and it just handles the whole thing. So, oops, like I've changed the zones, it slows you right down.
Yeah.
I've never been pulled over in a Tesla.
Awesome. Yeah, FSD is super fun, super relaxing. You can just chill, do some work or whatever you need to do while you're driving. It's awesome.
It was actually one of those technologies that I've defended a lot. I still remember like when I first started out with spaces and actually got into the Tesla scene. That was like one of those things everybody attacked Tesla for, like the FSD and saying it's this and that. I'm like, it's actually none of those things, and everybody doesn't know what the fuck's going on. So let me tell you what's going on. And it's very funny. So yeah, it's great to hear people actually have something positive to say about the technology and not be surrounded by a bunch of Tesla Q maniacs. That's a refreshing change. these people, man.
I don't understand. Like, people talk about it. There was some stupid story, like the NTSB. It was earlier today on some other part of Twitter. The NTSB was like investigating, accidents involving, actual smart summon. And it was like, how many accidents? Right. Well, no one was hurt. And how many accidents were there? 4. And you're like, all right, well, so like we know from the analytics of this thing that the average accident rate on FSD is, I think it's 10x better. I think it's like 1 accident per 7, maybe better than that, like 6 or 7 million miles, as opposed to 1 accident per 400,000 miles. So you already know that the driver assist is like massively reducing it. But they're like, oh no, we're still going to be up this company's ass because, God forbid, like someone dinged someone in a parking lot going 3 miles an hour with Smart Summit. It's the dumbest thing.
I agree. I don't have a Tesla, by the way. I have 2 German cars.
What kind of driving do you do?
So I'm in Northern Virginia, so I have the same nightmare of the I-95.
I am so sorry that my heart goes out to you.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous, man. That's why my Instagram is literally, my handle on Instagram is like, I hate I-95.
Where do you drive to and from without, I don't want to pry into your personal life. You don't need to tell me your home address, but like, what's your commute like?
Well, I'm in Stafford, Virginia right now, and before I got fired from the government, I used to drive either to Quantico, so that's a pretty short commute, and or sometimes I go to Congress for briefings with the Armed and Service Committee and the Intelligence Committees, and and sometimes I go to Fort Meade, Maryland, and that's like each way you're looking at like anywhere between 2 hours to 3 hours.
Yeah, but like it's a couple hours, and like the thing that sucks about it is that you're on that really dark. If you're going out to Fort Meade, particularly, you're on that dark like parkway that they've got. So it's not 95. It's that other highway. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, 495.
Yeah, 495. So like that's which sucks. But like seriously, a Tesla. Perfect for that drive. So I used to come down, so I'm coming from Connecticut, so it's a straight shot 95 through Baltimore, and then you get off and you head to DC. And I'd usually come in and then get off by New York Avenue, and then drive down New York Avenue. I lived on 16th Street. So like it was a pain in the ass long drive, but the Tesla like handles it. Like nighttime, great, keeps you centered in your lane. It doesn't matter, you got to stay awake, obviously, otherwise the car is going to have a fit and get angry with you. But like for that kind of driving, for that kind of distance, it just takes, if you're driving from Connecticut to DC, the strategy is you've got to be through New York by 6:30 in the morning. Otherwise you're fucked, because what'll happen is you'll hit the rush hour traffic in New York and Jersey and you're toast. So if you can be through New York by 6:30, right? And then that means you're through North Jersey by 6:45, 6:50. Just go down the West Side Highway over the GW and down. That means you're just straight shot New Jersey Turnpike. You might hit a little rush hour traffic in Baltimore, and then after that, it's just an easy plain sailing into DC. So like I know that route really, really, really well. And then like Northern Virginia, I had to drive out to George Mason all the time to go teach, which was a real pain in the neck. And the traffic was terrible. But like with a Tesla, you just literally say, okay, you talk to the car, you push a button, you go, hey, Tesla, give me driving directions to wherever. Car goes, okay, it beeps at you. And then you push go, right? You click your button and it just takes you there. Like today, it even took me, I put in a gym because as I mentioned earlier, I got fat after the gold standard, after the US went off the gold standard. And so I blame Nixon for that. But like I asked to go to this gym. It was like, cool, take me there. And it took me to the front door, like in the parking lot. So they're really iterating really well on it. And it's for anybody who has to drive 2 hours, it's the perfect, it can get you to your destination. You can get out of your car, you can drive home, and you'll probably have, I think with the newer stuff, you'll have more left over than I would. But like, I'll drive to New York and back and I'll have, which is 2.5 hours each way, and I'll have 25% battery left when I get home. So it's really like for long commutes. And what you should do, watch Jason Camisa's, he gave an interview about it the other day. and I can't remember what show it was on. It wasn't like a full, like the usual like Haggerty car specials that you get, but he just gave a long interview about the Model 3, and he said it's the best commuting car ever made. His only complaint, and I think probably the reason I'm going to hang on to this Model 3 that I have until I die, is that they got rid of the stalks in the newer Model 3s, so you have to use a push button to do indicators. And I think the theory there is that the automation is going to get so good that like it's going to be redundant for you to ask the car to switch lanes because the car is going to be good enough in its own. I prefer the stocks personally, but like he said, it's the best commuting car ever made. It's the new Model 3 in particular has better suspension. It's quieter in the back. They've reduced the noise. They've increased the range by doing some tweaks to the shape, and then they've also got some tweaks to the tires, which will increase the range. So you've got like a 380 mile range, like car that does 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, and rides like a Model 3, or not a Model 3, rides like an M3, like. Okay, like at that point, why are you driving an M3 or a Mercedes where like you sit there? The thing that gets me, what really grinds my gears? It's when like they have Mercedes, right? Mercedes really grinds my gears because Mercedes peaked in the 1990s when they had what was it? I can't remember the exact model number, but like what the hell is it? The really boxy ones that they were doing in the early 90s, right? Like the early E-Class with the nice orange speedometer and the big chunky.
Yeah,
and the what the
yeah,
hell
the
is
E500.
Exactly. What the hell's the generation name? I can't remember the generation name off the top of my head. But like the 500E, it wasn't the E500, it was the 500E. Like so that was like the turbo like E-Class, like that had the Porsche that had to like jam a big engine into. But like even the regular like E320 back then was like sick. It was this big tank. It pioneered the sedan design that like everybody else used. Then Lexus came along, and Lexus built something really similar with the LS400. And so like that like form factor was perfect. And you get into one today, right? And so getting into a Model 3 is more like getting into a 1990s Mercedes than getting into a Mercedes is like getting into a 1990s Mercedes, because you step into a Model 3 that's like, it's really plain, it's really simple. You've got one screen, everything's on the screen, it's not obtrusive, and you just like feel like it's functional, right? Yes, there's a giant iPad in it, but it is a functional fucking iPad. It is an iPad which does no more than is necessary than just to get the car functioning. You then get into a Mercedes, right? They bolted on some monitor on the what is it? The EQS is like laughable. I got to ride in one of those in London. And they have a screen, they have multiple screens all across the front dash. So in front of the driver, they've got your standard gauge cluster. And of course, the gauge cluster, there's a knob so you can select different things. And like, if it's in sport, it's red. And if it's this, it's blue. And if it's that, it's green. So it's like an ADHD like nightmare of a UX. They then have the big screen in the middle, right, which runs up and down at a funky and awkward angle, and that's what controls your climate control and everything else. And then over on the right, above the glove box, they have another fucking screen, right? And then the whole front of the car is like piano key black, so the whole thing smudges and looks like shit the minute you turn the car off. And like stepping into a Tesla feels like the 1990s Mercedes. Stepping into a Mercedes feels like, I don't know, it feels like stepping into like like the Homer mobile from The Simpsons. Like yeah. It's just this crazy, like intense, like confused experience where they're like, shit, Teslas are really good, and like they have a screen, so we're gonna put more screens so we can be more Tesla than Tesla, without understanding that like Tesla's kind of recaptured that essentially like that spirit where it's like, cool, I just get in, the thing works. Like, it doesn't bother me. I don't have to think about the car too much. So, like, yeah, so if, in case it's not clear by now, like, I love old Mercedes Benzes. I have one. It's currently in the shop. But I do have an old Mercedes 320 SLK, which is currently in the shop with some electrical problems. And it's 25 years old, so we can forgive it that. And and then the Tesla is just like it's the next best thing. Like if you could take like a 1980s Mercedes and put Tesla guts in it, like one of the old like 500 SL convertibles, and put Tesla guts in it, to me that would be like the ultimate vehicle. But like seeing as that doesn't exist, I'll just have to wait until I make enough money to buy a Tesla Roadster and then just do it then. So yeah, I'm a big fan.
The SpaceX package. Yeah.
The SpaceX package with the rockets on it. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, I love the Tesla. I've been driving the Model Y around, and
how's that?
Like, nice about it. Oh, it's great. It's got like a ton of room in the back. So if you ever need to like pull over and sleep or something, you can put a mattress in there or whatever you need to put in there. And it's nice and roomy and everything like that. It goes really quick too, and yeah, it's just got that kind of like nice simplicity about it, but at the same time, it has this really advanced technology in it. So there's like this, yeah, it's really nice. I just love it.
Hold on, I'm just pulling up old Mercedes model codes. So
I have a 2023 X3M competition.
very nice.
BMW.
Very nice. That is a very respectable. That is an extremely respectable car. I doff my hat to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I've been a lifetime BMW owner, and also I bought a Mini Cooper, also 2023 Mini Cooper Clubman S, and the only reason I bought it because they did an overhaul on everything on the technology perspective, and you guys probably know Mini Cooper been bought by BMW because it was a shitty brand, and if it was not for BMW, they would have been bankrupt by now.
What do you think? I mean, so I knew that they had some reliability issues, and so like I wasn't a fan, and my wife quite likes them, and I was just like, I'm not so sure. But like, what's your impression been of the Mini?
Well, the new ones after I think 2010, extremely stable. The old ones, they're pretty wobbly. The noise reduction is shit. Like it's not there. And the 2023, the one I have, the Clubman, man, that thing is a tank. It's like you close the door, it feels like the old school, like a Mercedes or a BMW and whatnot, and like you don't hear anything outside. And the sound system is great. The technologies in there are great. I mean, obviously nothing like Tesla, but the infotainment system is exactly the same as BMW. Everything is in there as BMW. Like literally, you open the hood, and like every component says BMW on it, and so that's that. It's the only difference is basically the manufacturing or the assembly line is in the UK. The BMW I have, it's a little bit more advanced. I have the gesture control, so I can basically do a bunch of stuff to the screen with like hand motion, and it does like a bunch of stuff for me. And also, it does not have like full self-driving capability, but like if I'm on the interstate,
the traffic and the driver assist, right?
Yes, it does. And if you're on the interstate, yeah, it will drive itself. It keeps you between the lane. It will basically slows down and speed up and all that stuff. And but yeah, if you don't pay attention to the cluster gauge camera, and the car will go berserk on you. So yeah, it's not like Tesla. Yeah, but I love it. It's just
Tesla get angry with you if you like. I got my first strike the other day because I was looking at my phone and Tesla got mad at me, and it was like fuck you, asshole. Like you're not being careful enough. Here's a strike. Get 4 more of them, and so you get 5 strikes, and then on the 5th one. And it's like, of course, the car like it yells at you. It's like, dude, Tesla has received telemetry that you're an asshole and you were using your phone, and you're a bad person. Now you're a bad person. If you do it 4 more times, Elon will personally come around to your house and like whack you with a cricket bat, take your car away, and you won't have FSD anymore. It's like shit. So I'm on my best behavior now. But it's not as bad as like, so Toyota has, like they have Toyota, like they have a self-drive feature, like it's like a lane assist. It's not a self-drive. And like, it just makes you, it's really annoying because it makes you nudge the steering wheel like every 20 seconds. Right. And Teslas used to be a little more annoying like that, like where they would kind of say, hey, tap the steering wheel. But now,
Because it's having connection issues.
yeah, now they don't have that, which is great. So it's just behavior. So like, as long as your eyes are front, you're paying attention to the road, like the car is not going to ask you to nag it. It's not going to nag you. So it's, which is really helpful. Yeah, it's really super helpful, but you got to pay attention.
Yeah, the reason I'm like, I always drove BMW M. Like my very first car was an M3, and it was like the E39. Then I drove that thing into oblivion. Then I bought a 2008 Z4M, and I drove that until basically I put like 250,000 miles on it, and I didn't get rid of it until 2020, and I bought the first X3M that actually came out, and somebody ran me off the road on actually on I-95. I was coming off the ramp.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I totaled it. Then I bought the. Yeah, and then I basically insurance took care of it, thank God, and obviously, but yeah, then I got the 2023 the competition model. And I love it, man. That thing, it drives like hell, and I love the exhaust sound. That's just like
it does zero. That'll do 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. The competition, right? It's like 2.8.
The fastest I've done mine, it was a 3.2.
I don't know. That's like a skill issue to me.
Yeah, I don't race. Yeah, I don't buy the M engine to race them.
I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. I don't really think it's.
No, that's fine. Yeah, obviously, yeah, and I probably need to brush up on that. But the only reason I buy the M engine because they're built for tough roads, I guess, or like a competition and racing. So like the suspensions, the engine is a lot tougher than a regular BMW, so they last longer. And I don't race, so that's not my thing. Like it's funny, like every time I get to like a stoplight or something, I get some jackass in his Mustang or something. It was like pumping his gas. It was like, hey, you want to go? I was like, dude, give me a break. Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm not playing your game.
It's interesting you mentioned that. I was in London. I go to London a bunch, and the Ubers over there are amazing, right? So you summon an Uber in New York City, and it's like, I don't know, like a Buick or like it's like a Prius or something. You summon an Uber in London, and then like an E-Class shows up, and I was talking to the guy about it. Just whatever. It's like I'm never going to complain about riding in the back of a Mercedes. And apparently the cars, they're having trouble because they buy them and they've got these big wheels, like 19 or 20 inch. I don't know what it is. I'm not a big expert on wheels. So they have these big wheels with these really thin tires. And what happens is they keep blowing out the tires and then cracking the rims on potholes. So they're getting these cars, like in the cab companies are getting these cars, and then they're taking them out on the roads, and then a pothole just like cracks the rim, and you've got a multi-$1,000 repair because you've got to do this because the car's built to run with these really, really super thin looking tires instead of tires that actually work. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. So it's interesting that you mentioned that the M3 is built more heavily than your standard 3 Series. which I wasn't aware of. I thought that basically they just like sport tuned it and dropped in a bigger engine, or like I don't know, like tune the engine so that it gets more output. But I don't know a lot about it. I just know they're fast.
Yeah, no, actually, the outside look, they may look the same, but everything on the guts is different. Even the frame on the inside is different, is built a lot tougher. One thing, like if you guys buy any car, honestly, this is what I do when I buy a new car. Get the road and hazard coverage. What that does, if you have bigger wheels with thin tires, I mean, I can go into the, I can be nerdy and go to the specs for those, but by the road and hazard coverage, and what that does, like if you basically hit a pothole and damages your wheel, tire, and everything, and damages like the suspension or anything else, you'll be covered. And you'll take it to the shop, to your dealer basically, and they will fix it up for free. And they will replace the wheel.
Yeah, but then they'll jack up. Then they'll jack up your premiums when the time comes to renew it.
Nope.
Really? Oh no, I'm very, very hesitant to ever report anything to an insurer. I accidentally managed to have some close contact with a mailbox the other day in the 4Runner, which left a very minor dent. And you could do one of two things. Well, it was my fault, so I guess there's no reporting it to the insurer. But like the with that kind of you look at it and you're like, oh well, it's an accident. It's like it's just no sense. Just go down to the body shop, get the dent taken out. I initially thought I couldn't figure out how the dent got there, and I initially thought someone else had dinged it. And then what happened was I realized that in fact when I was moving some office furniture, I had heard something go clunk, and I wasn't quite sure what it was. And then I realized it was a mailbox. The mailbox was fine. The 4Runner was less fine. So, oops.
I feel bad for the mailbox.
Well, I mean, the mailbox kicked my car's ass. The mailbox didn't move an inch. So, which is not ideal, but it's fine. I just got a dent. I'm just gonna get it taken out.
Yeah, hit me up later. I can probably help you out with how to fix it at home if you want.
No. If I do that, I'll guaranteed rip off the body panel or something, and then I don't know, get electrocuted by the wire harness. I don't know what. I will figure out a way to make the situation worse. So I would much rather just go, pay the fee and get it dealt with. The 4Runner is a dope car. I don't know if anyone's familiar with it, but I'm a big fan of 4Runners. That's my first car was a 4Runner back in 2000. So my first car was a third generation 4Runner with a V8 in it, and it was a limited. It was a sort of off creamy white with nice leather seats on the inside. It was pretty cool, and then my second car was a Tacoma, third car was a 4Runner, and my fourth car was also a 4Runner, and that's one of the two cars that I currently drive. And they're just they're these big, they feel manual, right? Everything about them, it's got a manual transfer case for the 4-wheel drive, so you get this nice satisfying clunk when you put it into 4-wheel drive, and then when it's in 2-wheel drive, there's still a physical connection to the gearbox, so the thing vibrates and makes an annoying noise, and it's so satisfying. You're like, my car is making an annoying noise because it is this big greasy relic of a bygone era, and if the Russians set off an EMP, this thing would still go, and I can make it to my bunker in the mountains, which I don't actually have, but that's one of my life goals is to have a mountain bunker, and it's this really satisfying thing that just it grunts and it bounces, and I love it.
Dude, I love Toyotas. We had when I was deployed in Iraq and a few other places, we had a lot of not 4Runners but Land Cruisers, up armored SUVs. Man, you just can't kill that engine on those suckers. Literally,
was it the 300? Was it the Land Cruiser 300 series? So the last gen before they protoed everything.
No, Before it became gay.
Before they took the Land Cruiser and killed it, buried it, dragged its corpse out of the grave, then started beating the corpse with a cricket bat, and then I don't know, microwaved it and tried to serve it to people as lunch. I hate what they've done to the land. Honestly, the Land Cruiser and to the 4Runner, because they've got this little. They took this little shitty 4-banger and put it in. And so Toyota, for those of us who are not Toyota like fanboys, Toyota historically has made trucks that are like nigh indestructible. Top Gear did a whole bit with them where they took a Toyota and killed it every which way they could. They threw it in the ocean. They put it on top of a building that was slated to be demolished. They blew up the building. They then retrieved the Toyota, and then at the end of the episode, they drive this working Toyota that's been beat to hell, and it drives into the studio under its own power. And that was a Hilux that did that, which is their like sort of standard off-road truck. And historically, like they've been built to be super duper reliable. Now, for reasons that really are known only to God, in the next generation of stuff that they've come out with, they sort of decided to make everything look really hyper boxy, which is kind of like, I don't know, 2017 called, they want their SUV back. And then they took the 5-speed transmission, which was totally bulletproof, out of the 4Runner. And I don't know what they had in the Land Cruiser, but they had a great, they had a V8 in the old Land Cruiser, which was amazing. It just purred along, and they were designed to drive 400,000 miles without braking. And then they killed the Land Cruiser and then merged it into and sort of kind of killed the 4Runner, and then put everything on a common platform with an 8-speed transmission that keeps blowing up, and this little 4-banger hybrid which kind of like sound, I don't know, it sounds like a vacuum cleaner or a Roomba that's powering the car, and it's underpowered as shit. They then decided to hybridize it, right? So they're like, yes, we must burnish our green credentials. We will turn the 4Runner into a hybrid, and we will do that on all of the upper level trims, like all of the sweet 4Runners. We're going to put a fucking hybrid battery in it. Okay, great. They're putting a hybrid battery in. Super. Surely I will not notice this hybrid battery. It will just be something which blends into the background and is seamlessly, hidden away. No. Instead, they put it in the trunk. So your loading floor of your boot is now 5 inches higher than it otherwise would be, which means that all of the shit that you used to be able to fit into the 4Runner and the Land Cruiser, you no longer can, because there's a big fucking battery there. Then they go out to all of the fucking influencers, right? The Toyota fanboy influencers. And they're like, all right, cool. Like, here, you're going to get early access to the truck. You're going to get whatever. And so the only people who got the early access to the vehicle were people who were going to say nice things about it. And so I'm sitting there watching these things. I literally, I watched this stuff and then went out to the dealer and bought a 4Runner immediately and said, this is the last of the great V6 4Runners. It's like the last of the V6 Interceptors, from Mad Max. I was like, this is it. This is the last great car they will ever make. And they're sitting there going, oh, well, we've got this battery in the trunk. And that, of course, raises the floor about 5 or 6 inches, which, of course, makes things smaller. But check this out. There's a little gap, and if you pick this up, it's a helpful little shelf with a little compartment in the back. Look, oh, isn't that a helpful little compartment? And you're like, so you just cut down the trunk size, but because the battery isn't actually designed to fit in the entire trunk, what's going to happen is we'll cut the battery short, take up some more fucking space, and we're going to make it a useless little compartment. The only thing you could fit in there is, I don't know, some sailing line, like a hose, and I don't know why you would want a hose on that car, except maybe to hook it up to the exhaust so you could fucking kill yourself because you're driving the worst Toyota ever made. So, it's just, anyway, I'm done.
Despite the safety issue, can you imagine you get hit from the rear?
Yeah, you get hit from the rear, and all of a sudden there's a giant battery flying towards you. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Lithium is all over the place. Yeah.
Well, and unlike a Tesla, it's not like it's contained under the frame. It's like in the cab, they have a giant battery, sitting in the cab of the car. It's totally, because it's a body on frame, right? So because they want it to feel and look trucky, right? Because that's what the things are. But then they ripped out everything that makes it a truck, except it's body on frame, which means that when they're taking that battery and they're putting it in the trunk, it's on top of the frame. It's not under the frame or incorporated into the frame, because you can see it. It's just sitting there in the cab with you. So
this is like you have a little battery right next to you.
Nothing makes me angrier than watching like classic car designs get destroyed. I feel like it's kind of like watching an endangered species like get wiped out by like a bulldozer so that someone can put a mall on it. It's like the same feeling. It's really terrible. And like so many, I think BMW has done a really good job. Like even though despite the fact that their design language has been totally insane the last couple of years, like at least the cars are still good, right? And at least when you jump into a BMW, it doesn't feel like, I wish they still had like analog gauges. I think if you're not going to be fully electric, it doesn't make a whole bunch of sense to like start bolting on screens everywhere, because you don't need that information. The only information you need is like, what gear am I in? Like, what's the engine revving at, and how fast am I going? Which you don't need a screen for. You can do that with a gauge. So like, I wish they stuck with that, but at least it still feels like it, right? Even though the BMWs they have kind of a cool like UI for their gauge cluster, I suppose. But like Mercedes has just gone like totally batshit. It's like watching a friend like. It's like watching a friend get like on, I don't know, ayahuasca or something, and then turn into some kind of weird hippie that like is like unrecognizable from the person you knew. This robust, stout character, went off into the wilderness, and then they come back and they start talking about like healing crystals and shit. That's what Mercedes did.
Oh, Mercedes completely lost the plot. Like my best friend, he bought E300 brand new for his wife a few months ago, and it's got a 4-cylinder in it, and I was like, are you effing kidding me? Like, you put in a 4-cylinder on an E300, and it felt like, and everything is plastic inside, and it feels like I'm driving like it felt like I was in a Hyundai, like a Korean car. It was like some sort of a knockoff Chinese car. Like literally, it was not pleasant, and he was not happy with it. But his wife was like, "I want a Mercedes. I want a Mercedes."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Good."
A Hyundai, I think, is the right. It's a Hyundai. It's like a Hyundai that's been tarted up. Because like if you're in a Honda, like they're not going to tart it up, but again, it's not going to be creaking at you all the time. But like you sit in a Mercedes and it's like all this creaky plastic and shit that like Toyota would like, at least Toyota from the last generation never would have done, or Mercedes from back in the day never would have done. But you get into this thing and it's like they make them look, I guess, interesting, and like they put lots of things like, I don't know, like multicolored changing LEDs. Which, like, I guess you can do the LED thing. Tesla does it in the new Model 3s. But, like, if you're going to do the multicolor LED, like, fine. But, like, don't make the rest of the car crap and creaky and like, piano key black, plastic everywhere that's going to smudge and looks cheap as shit. But, like, that's exactly what Mercedes has done. And they overcharge for it. And, like, E300, like, a 300 used to be like, oh, yeah, it's a 3-liter engine, right? But now it's 300 and they put a freaking 4-banger in it. And, yeah, and it sounds like cars used to sound in Europe. The new Mercedes in the United States, they underpower them, and
it sounds like Volga. Have you ever driven a Volga, like a Russian Volga?
I've never driven one, but I've been.
Oh my God, that thing is hilarious. Okay, if you can get your hands on one. Buy it, because it's pretty fun to drive, and expect a lot of or Lada. Actually, Lada is even more fun. Get one, and it's got like probably 50 horsepower, and if you're in Connecticut, there's some mountains you're not going to be able to climb, and it's going to be pretty fun, and expect a lot of towing trucks calls. But they're pretty fun to drive. They're hilarious.
My unreliable car guilty pleasure is the Land Rovers. So like the old Defender 90s that they have, or like an old 1980s, early 1990s disco. They were like terrible cars. Like they broke down all the time. They're underpowered, but they look amazing, right? And so that's like there are like shitty cars that are worth owning and driving that are objectively terrible vehicles to drive, right? Just because they look so cool. And like, it's like buying a boat. You just know that you're going to spend $5,000 trying to maintain a thing every single year until you finally decide you've had enough and you set the thing on fire or turn it in for scrap. But the old Defenders are fun like that. I like the old 80s disco or Range Rover. Would be a really, really fun car to own. That's the kind of car you show up to the polo in while wearing a Barber and like drinking red wine on the tailgate. Like that's what you do in one of those. So those are another set of very, very fun but unreliable vehicles. Have you seen the Ineos Grenadier?
I have not, but I can talk a lot about the Defender because we had one overseas in Basra, Iraq.
Nice.
And it was up armored, and it was already like underpowered vehicle, and you put like shitload of freaking armor on it, so that thing is like a turtle, like doesn't freaking move at all. Like literally a Humvee, it was a lot faster than that sucker. And on top of that, like we were in the middle of a recon mission, and the freaking AC broke. So it was like a freaking oven because you can't roll the windows down. So by the time we got back on base, we were like literally, I probably lost 20 pounds that just like in a few hours.
the Defender diet. So the Defender. So for those of us who don't know the Land Rover Defender, I highly recommend you look up the Defender 90, and like you'll see two versions. There's the one that I'm currently selling, which looks like every other SUV on the planet. It's like rounded edges. It's got they put on the fancy wheels with alloys and shit like that. Although you can get them with steel wheels. And then they have the old version, which is this boxy thing. You will know what you're looking at if you see it, and it's this boxy, beautiful car, and you want to put a bunch of like you want to put KO2s on it that are oversized, and it looks like the kind of thing that like if you're in the middle, and this is what it was used for. If you have 30,000 acres in the middle of Scotland and you need to go shoot some deer, or you just want to go drive up the side of a mountain in Scotland and the weather's not too extreme, that's the kind of car that you want to take up and down the hill. And you'll look amazing doing it because you'll be dressed in tweed trousers, you'll have a flat cap, you'll be wearing a Barber, and you'll be holding like a Beretta shotgun, that's broken open over your arm while your brown-haired beauty girlfriend who came from an English boarding school is sitting there hanging off your arm, and you're about to go back to your estate and drink a lot of scotch. Like that is what this car is for. It is absolutely perfect. Anyway, Land Rover got bought. Originally, it was part of the Jaguar Land Rover group. That got bought by Ford because the English car companies couldn't compete, with the American companies. And then Ford sold it to Tata, which is the Indian car group, and then Tata killed it, right? They were like, okay, cool. So Land Rover Defender, now we're going to make it a modern car and take all of the character out of it. So this has so offended a bunch of English old boys that they were sitting in a pub called the Grenadier, which is just off of Belgrave Square in SW1 in London. And as they were sitting in the bar, the Grenadier, they were sitting there saying, it's a real damn shame that Land Rover killed the Defender, because we really like that car. That really captured the spirit of the countryside. And then one of them happened to be the CEO of a chemical company, a European chemical company called Ineos. And he said, fuck it, I'm going to start an automotive division of Ineos, and what we're going to do is we're going to build a clone of the Defender, except it's not going to be shitty like the last one, right? So it's going to look identical. And so what they did is they put I think it's a BMW engine and transmission, and a bunch of, they've cobbled it together with different manufacturers and things like that, but it looks gorgeous. It's this big boxy thing. It looks so good that Land Rover and Tata actually sued them over the design, stating that it was a trademark of Land Rovers. And the court over in England and Wales found actually it wasn't a trademark because you never registered it. And so the image of the Land Rover, which you're no longer using, is not something which is trademarkable. and so Ineos wound up winning that. But basically, right, Land Rover had this amazing, like, iconic car, and they completely dropped the ball, right, in terms of like understanding what their core constituency of drivers actually wanted, which was like a continuation of the same thing, except something that didn't break down in the snow, right? Or didn't, because like if you're driving around the desert, like that's when you want to be in a Land Rover Defender, or or at least an old one. If you're driving around in Boston, you're fucked in December. So so that's like, it's, if you Ineos Grenadier, definitely look it up. Ineos, Ineos, I think. Yeah, Ineos. Yeah. And it's a totally beautiful SUV.
Yeah, I agree. I think we talked about cars a lot. Mr. Adrian, I'm new to your spaces, brother. I would love to get to know who you are and what do you actually do for a living?
I work in manufacturing. Who I am is I mean, it's who I am is I kind of here.
Who would you say? Who would you say you are? Like, let's say, as a kid, growing up, and how you evolved to be who you are right now.
I don't know. It's just random stuff that keeps occurring. That's all that it is. And just my ability to see the world is always just kind of refuse to see it. What you are is just kind of whatever you want to make for yourself, really.
Yeah.
You have a personality, and whatever you want to be is whatever you make of yourself. You can be anyone.
Would you classify yourself like a different from? Do you have siblings and stuff like that?
I don't really talk much about my personal life.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, for me, it's like I always classified myself as like the black sheep in the family because I grew up. Yeah, I grew up as Muslim, and in Baghdad, Iraq. And the way I learned the English, by the way, I think earlier you said you learned English from like TV shows and stuff like that. Me, it was like the blues music.
No way. You learned English from the blues.
Yeah.
I've never heard that one before. That's great. Wow.
Yeah, I used to sneak in cassettes because my family is against music, but we had the cassette player, and I used to go to the record shop, and I buy like Eric Clapton, Pink Floyd,
Yes.
yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, David Gilmour, and I have those like a little raggedy ass cheap headphones, so my family don't hear the music from my room. So I put it in my ears and I listened. I mean, we did have like an English class, so it's basically like they teach you the basic. But that's how I learned English, is basically just listening to blues, and it plays a big part of my personality of who I am till today.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Interesting way to learn it.
Yeah, I mean, and I was always different. Like I was like the shortest kid in school, but I was also badass. Like somebody was trying to bully me when I was in second grade, and my two older brothers, they were like just watching this guy hit me and spit on me, and I was looking at my older brothers, and I was like, "Hey, are you gonna defend your younger brother here?" And they were like just watching. So I got so angry, and was like, and I picked that kid up and beat the Jesus living out of him. And yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Then after that, it was just like fair game. It was like, hey, you pick on me, and you are going to lose a teeth or something happens.
Yeah. So most of
you
always alone.
Yeah, I mean, you learn. Like, I mean, you're not gonna let people step on you. That's just the way it is, and that's for me, or who I am.
You're getting attacked all the time, probably, right?
Oh yeah. I used to get attacked all the time. Some of the teachers hated me just because I have an autistic personality as well, because I was like picking up or like a sort through their teaching. It was like, hey, this doesn't add up. Last week you said this week you said that into the same subject, but you contradicted yourself, and the teacher, like, they get upset.
That is funny. How is that? It's so. Hang on a second. You were then so later as work you were deployed in the army, and like what do you mean intelligence work? Because I think you said something about intelligence, community, and various other things. If you're at liberty to do this, of course.
Okay, so I'm gonna run through my life very quickly. I was born in the 80s under Saddam Hussein in Baghdad, and my family was very well off at the time. They were in the gold jewelry business and also textile business. And 1991, Desert Storm 1 happened, and Iraq was taken out of the SWIFT banking system. So the Iraqi government basically went bankrupt, and the Iraqi dinari went from the strongest currency in the world to the weakest almost. And then Saddam Hussein and his gang, they started going after rich people, or previously rich people in Iraq, and bribing them into oblivion to basically take cuts out of their profits. And my family was on the receiving end of that because my dad and uncles, we have a big family, and they own a lot of businesses. And it was Qusay Saddam Hussein, one of Saddam's sons, and he runs the intelligence agency at the time. And he was like, hey, we know you guys do like gold exports and textile exports and stuff like that. We want 60% out of your profit.
Jeez.
And my youngest uncle told him to go fuck himself.
Wow.
Yeah, seriously, that's what he did. He was like, go fuck yourself. And couple months later, my youngest uncle got charged with destruction to the internal economy, and he was sentenced to death. It was 1993. And
That's sentence. Wow.
yeah, so I was 7, 8 years old, and anybody who was over the age of 6 in the family, they were forced to go witness the execution, the hanging. So yeah, that happened. In 1995, my oldest uncle was charged and indicted with the same charge or the same accusation, but my dad was able to smuggle him out of the country into Jordan. And in 1998, my third oldest uncle, my dad was the second oldest in the family between his brothers and sisters. So my third uncle was charged with a destruction to the internal economy as well, and he was sentenced to death. But my dad, basically at that point, my dad sold almost the entire family properties and everything we owned to basically bribe the regime to reduce his sentence from death penalty to life in prison. He got released right before the U.S. invasion of Iraq, because Saddam Hussein gave a clemency to every prisoner, and he thought they were going to fight for him to fend off the coalition forces coming in 2003. 2003 comes in, April 9th, Saddam Hussein fell officially. April 19th, 2003, I walked out of my family's house, and I was like, hey, I need to do something different. and I knew there was like the 5th Intelligence Element headquarters of Saddam Hussein. It was about 700 yards from my family's house. So I walked over there, and I was like, hey, if I'm going to find any Americans, they're going to be over there. And sure enough, there were Americans over there. And I knew that because I was smart enough, because in 2001, they bombed the shit out of that place. And also in 2003, they bombed the shit out of that place as well. So I knew it was like of an importance to Americans, at least. And so there were Americans over there. And I was like, hey, I speak English. Do you have a job for me? And they were like, hell yeah. Where do you live at? I was like, yeah, right down the street and whatnot. So they took my initial information, stuff like that. And they gave me a job as a linguist. Then they found out I was like, actually, I'm very talented in multiple other things. And they handed me over to the Green Beret Special Operation folks. And I ended up working with special operation guys. And then I became a combat linguist. So basically I had to go through a lot of weapon trainings and stuff like that. Then I veered from that into basically do human intelligence. Basically I recruit human intelligence in addition to my actual combat linguist job. In the process, I was blown up 4 times. I was kidnapped once and rescued.
Christ.
But yeah, in 2000.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and 2010. Yeah, I have an extensive background. 2010, I officially came to the United States after a bunch of adversity I had to face, and became a citizen. I went right back into doing actual contracting for the government. I went right back into Iraq. I did the final ISIS operation push with special operations and some Air Force elements. And after we basically wrapped up with the ISIS operations in Iraq and Syria, and I ripped off, I went to Afghanistan. I did the Afghan training and assisted program, and that was a disaster because as soon as I got there, I was reading the SOP for the program, and I was like, this is not gonna work. Anyway, got back to the United States after I did my short time over there, and I moved from Tennessee to Northern Virginia, and I continued doing contracting with the U.S. government. Then I officially became an intelligence officer, and in my bio is actually GG13. GG13 is like the highest promotable civilian government rank you can get to is GS15 or GG15. The GS is general service, GG is the designation for the intelligence community. So it's basically same rank, is just different designation. So I was a senior intelligence analyst and also specialist. Last year, when I said I was in Germany, I was the senior political advisor for Lieutenant General Agudo, which is he led the security assistant group for Ukraine. And we were supporting the operations in Ukraine and the money laundering operation that was going on. And they went after me also because of they found out I was a Republican. So actually I was sent home early. I was not supposed to come back in February this year. I was supposed to come back in August. Anyway, got back. My command, the Army Counterintelligence Command, they kept digging after me, and a couple months before the election, I texted one of my coworkers a YouTube video making fun of Kamala Harris, and they went and reported harassment allegation because of the video. And yeah, they suspended me, and 2 weeks before the election, they officially fired my ass. That's where I'm at, and yeah, it's pretty fun. Now I'm talking to a bunch of fun people on X Spaces.
I'm glad you're doing this. Yeah, it's a nice city.
Yeah. So where are you gonna go from here? Like, what you gonna do now?
Well, I applied with X. Yeah, I applied with X because they have a lot of government programs. Because I still have my top secret security clearance. I got denied pretty much every position. I applied with the Trump transition team. I have not heard anything back. Hopefully they will reach back out to me because I know where the dead bodies are as far as corruption within the government and stuff like that. Yeah. Beyond that, I'm talking to people right now, making friends, and try to do political analysis on some of the stuff as far as, especially like when it comes to PSYOP and stuff like that. But also, I like to joke a lot. Like I love sense of humor. I have a very thick skin.
I can see that. Interesting. It's fascinating how we came across you via the German discussion there. The space we had.
Yeah, when I joined in, I was like, hey, you know what? Like, I had a first-hand experience when I was in Germany because I came across a lot of German people. Like, I was literally walking around in different cities in Germany, especially bigger cities. I was just able, like, because I know, like, people speak in Arabic, so I was like, hey, I introduced myself and was like, hey, is there like what's your bar recommendation or restaurant and stuff like that? I'm just speaking Arabic to them because then I was like, hey, where are you guys actually from? There was like, oh, Syria, Palestine, Lebanon, Iraq, and I've seen some people like from Sudan and Libya and Morocco and stuff like that. But majority I came across, it was Syrians and Palestinians, actually, Lebanese. So I was like literally just getting by, just speaking Arabic.
That's crazy.
I was like,
so you did that just so you wanted to test it out, right? Like you were thinking, let's see how let's see how the situation is. I'm just gonna talk Arabic to everyone. Was that the reason why I communicated with them in Arabic?
No, I just like I walk into a place, they look Arab, and obviously they speak. Yeah, and they speak between each other because like you got 2 or 3 people in the store and they're speaking Arabic, and I was like, okay, then just use my Arabic language then. And it was like everywhere.
That's insane.
Yeah, and yeah, I was amazed. Then I went to don't make fun of me. I'm probably gonna butcher the name. I think it's a town called Ingolstadt.
Yeah, okay.
It was I probably butchered the pronunciation, but what I found out over there. By the way, there's a lot of Ukrainian refugees in Germany as well. After the Ukraine-Russia war, and so yeah, I was in Ingolstadt, and there was a lot of Ukrainians over there. It's a small town. And majority of them, they were like Germans. Then actually, I was like, oh, okay, well, that's pretty cool. That actually there's some German people here, and not like majority Arabs or a significant numbers of Arabs. And I was like, hey, I'm American. I don't speak German, and I speak in English and whatnot. And a lot of Germans, majority of them actually, they do speak English. And if you respect them, they respect you back. And I started speaking, and I started asking them. I was like, "Hey, what do you guys think about the undocumented migration here and whatnot? Because we have the same issue in the United States." And that's when they open up. Because I mean, I don't blame the German people because I look Arab, so they think I was like probably one of those guys. Came into Germany illegally and whatnot, but when I explained to them who I am, where I came from, then they open up and be like, yeah, we have a major issue, and these people, like, they're taking our culture, they're living off of our social services and everything else. Then I ended up encountering the AFD rally, then I walked up to them and I started anyone people, man. It was like, and they just want their country back. They want to keep their culture alive, and they don't want to be replaced by other people. And by the way, I'm not taking a stab on the Muslims, but the Muslim culture and the Muslim religion does not align with the Western Constitution. It just does not, because Islam has their own constitution, and it does not. It does not align well with democracy or Western constitutions or culture. And I was like, yeah, these guys' grievances are legitimate, and I mean, I feel their pain, and I hope they can do something about it, to be honest with you, because otherwise, Germany in like 10, 15 years, they're all going to be speaking Arabic.
Interesting.
It was interesting to see. I mean, the country is beautiful. The architect is beautiful. Germany is like they have a very artistic, and I'm talking about the actual German people, very artistic culture. Like if you go to Germany and you look at the buildings and whatnot, the way they're built, even after the destruction of World War II, they rebuilt their cities into the same architectural style of the 17, 16, 1800s and stuff like that, except like on the inside is a little bit modern and stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, these people, they have legitimate grievances, and I don't blame them, man. I mean, we have the same issues here in the United States.
So, one of the things that is going to become very interesting soon, if there is a massive shift in Germany, it's like they're going to want to, like they're going to shut down immigration to a certain extent. I would hope at least something such as skilled immigration would remain, because there is a good argument for that. You know, it would have to be actually skilled immigration, because what if you wanted to work in a specific field, and this field is only available in this one country because this is the thing that you're trying to target. I think most of any country should have that.
No, absolutely. I'm not against. Yeah, Adrian. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not against skilled immigration, because there are certain fields you just don't have enough graduates from your own colleges to fulfill the particular job. So you're gonna have to bring people like from particular countries where they excel in that, and but that needs to be the standard. It was like, hey, do I bring people here that will actually benefit the country, or are they going to be a burden on the country? Yeah, you don't want to bring people to be a burden on the country. You want to bring people to actually bring some sort of a value to your economy. That's why, like, when the whole HB1 visa fiasco, I think I forgot her name. She was attacking people randomly, and I was like, "You're dumb. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about." Because
which one is this? A American individual, or is this a German?
No, American. What's her, Laura or something?
Oh God! I knew that's what you were talking about. Yeah, Laura Loomer.
Yeah.
We've had it on here, yeah.
We've had a lot of things going on. Let's say it that way. Have you seen the? When did you come across? Me? This whole thing, the conversation. Was this only today?
No, it was about a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was Mr. What's his name?
Sriram Krishna?
No, it was like Nick Fuentes and Utzaf, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was eavesdropping. Yeah, I don't know how long that was. That's when I first came across your.
Yeah, it was
yeah.
Christmas time. Christmas time was quite something. It was definitely the wildest Christmas that I've ever had. I mean, I didn't think making international news was going to be on my plate. It was definitely not, but it turned out to be. I thought it was going to be relatively peaceful, somewhat boring. You know, I thought it was going to, we're going to have a nice little Christmas space. You know, everything is going to be nice. Everything is great, and then that happened. I was like, well, I guess not. It was a snowball, I swear.
Yeah, well, I was eavesdropping on that conversation, and like I'm not an extremist guy. Like I am a MAGA Republican. I'm for like actual American.
So you're an actual American citizen, right?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, because I have a top secret security clearance. I actually had to renounce my Iraqi citizenship, so I'm actually a holder of only one citizenship.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah. So,
I assume you voted Trump, of course.
I'm actually an OG Trump voter. Like, if anybody.
So, like, you're the part of the OG MAGA base that they try to vote your signal to. A lot of the influencers. So you're like 2016. You're like.
Yes, there was actually a post. If somebody like knows how to navigate, I'm still trying to figure out how to pull like old tweets or like a post up. There's actually, you'll see if you go to my timeline back in 2016. I think I had 2 tweets with me and my guns, and one was addressed to Donald Trump, and I was agreeing with his deportation, I guess, or shutting down the immigration or like the flow of the 7 countries he was talking about. And one I addressed, what's his name, Steve Harvey, because I was watching an episode of his, and he was talking about the immigration, and I did tweet back then. I was like, hey, can I get on your show, because I can basically educate him on why it's important to shut down some of these countries from coming here, because there's no vetting process at all, because the police system, they don't have the actual background investigation for anybody. So yeah, I'm like an OG. Like if anybody like back to my timeline back in 2016, yeah, you'll see a couple tweets, and you'll see me and my guns and stuff like that.
That's funny the way you described it. It's like, oh, me and my guns, I'm like, bro. It's just
I was actually at the Syrian border. That picture, like if anybody can pull it up, go ahead and put it on the purple bubble, so people actually know who I am. Yeah, I'm an OG Trump supporter, like from 2015, 2016, and I was just never vocal.